officially Hispanic Heritage Month, which means you might be looking for different activities that you can use in your classroom to celebrate it with your elementary music students. Well, look no further, because in today's video, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite children's books that I use in my classroom each and every year, and that is Tito Puente, the Mambo King. So if you're ready to learn all about how I use that in my classroom and what you can do to further teach about Hispanic Heritage Month in your classroom, stay tuned. Hello, whimsically musical teachers. It's Rainy Barton here once again, elementary music teacher and middle school musical theater teacher. One day that'll just roll off the tongue. And I'm here to make these videos to help you be the best music educator you can be and give you tips, tricks, and all the things. Please like and subscribe to my channel. It'll help my channel grow. Last week we talked about a specific song that I use in my classroom called Pala Palita and the activity that I do for that. So if you haven't checked that out already, definitely click below this video and it'll be right there. In today's video, we're going to talk about a book that I love using in my classroom. Because if you don't know by now, I'm obsessed with using children's books in my elementary music classroom. It is my favorite thing ever. And so we're going to talk about a book that I use for Hispanic Heritage Month, and that is Tito Puente, the Mambo King. I'll put a picture of it right here. And that is all about Tito Puente, who basically was the founder of the Mamba movement of Latin jazz type music. And so he's a really important musician or person to talk about for Hispanic Heritage Month. So I'm going to talk about what the book basically goes through, and then we're going to talk about the different things that I use for this lesson. Okay, so the book itself literally just talks all about Tito Puente and about what he was like when he was growing up and how he got into the Latin jazz scene, and then like all the awards that he's gotten along the way and the different people that he's gotten to work with. And the pictures are beautiful, and it's a really beautiful crafted story. There's a really great read aloud of it with drums and like Latin music in the background on YouTube, and I will make sure to link underneath that in this video. But, so the rest of the things is, so that's not the first thing we do though. I do have the book, but the first thing that I want them to know is I want them to know who Tito Puente is before we read the book. And so I talk to them. We normally learn about one musician a week during Hispanic Heritage Month, but I also make sure to talk about Hispanic musicians during other times of the year. This is just when I make a point to also talk about them. So I'll talk about like Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, Selena. I've talked about Jennifer Lopez before, not Ricky Martin because I'm at a private school and he's, you know. Anyway, Lin-Manuel Miranda we talked about last year. And so I'm looking at my notes. So I will talk about how he was an American musician and songwriter. He was also a band leader. He was a record producer. He did all of the things, and he was best known for his mambo and Latin jazz. And then I actually let them see some videos of his mambo music in action. So what I used to show was him playing Oye Como Va, and I used to have my students to watch that and then watch Carlos Santana's version, and then they would compare and contrast. However, Oye Como Va has a pretty derogatory term for Hispanic people, for half Hispanic people. And so we don't use that song in my classroom anymore. And I was just like, why would you use that? Why would you use that word? Why? Also, I didn't even know until I was researching him that he originated Oye Como Va and that it wasn't Santana. But regardless, we don't use that song in my classroom anymore. So I typically will show a video of one of his other popular songs called Kumbara, which Celia Cruz, which she's another famous musician, Hispanic musician. And so it's a really great example for them to be able to see. And then I also show them this really awesome video that I found on Sesame Street of him playing with like Oscar the Grouch and everyone, playing his like mambo Latin beat music. It is such a fun little video. I use Sesame Street whenever I can, honestly, because a lot of celebrity musicians have gone on Sesame Street for different things. And you know what? They just are the vibes, okay? They're the vibes. They're the moment. So I use both of those videos typically. And then we will actually read the story of Tito Puente, the Mambo King. Typically, I will play the video that I mentioned where it has the drums and the music in the background just because it makes it a much like more livelier reading experience. Although I'll make sure to have the book physically in my hands, and I will just have that in the background so that they're able to have it read to them, but also the music and stuff is in the background. And then in the book specifically, there is a specific rhythm on a bunch of the pages that just comes up repeatedly throughout the book, and it's tum tick tack tick, tum tick tom tom, tum tick tack tick, tum tick tom tom. And so eventually we start trying to fill in the rhythms that we know and talk about that. And so I use this lesson for 3rd and up because I use T-ticka in this, and unless you're teaching that in lower grades, then like you do you, but I don't typically get to that to 3rd grade. So I normally introduce this. Honestly, I probably haven't even introduced it by 3rd grade yet, so I probably use this song in 4th and 5th the most. But I will have little rhythm slides like this for them. which if you want these rhythm slides, they're all in the product that I made like for this entire lesson, which you can find under the description. But I have rhythm slides for them, and we fill in the rhythms that they know, TTs and all of that, and then we read our pattern again, and I use this as an introduction piece for T-ticka typically, and so they'll say long, short, short for the T-ticka part, so it's long, short, short, tack, tick, toom, tick, tom, tom, or long, short, short, T, 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 T. And then eventually we realize, oh, that's T-ticka, that looks like this, let's add our pattern, so it's T-ticka, T, 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 T-ticka, T, 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 T. And then we will add our pattern to the story. So what I will do is I will set it up as like a drum line, and so I don't have a lot of drums, but I'll have like 3 or 4 giant conga drums set up in a line, and the kids will come up to it, and every page will add the pattern 4 times. And I'll have the pattern on the screen for them, and so we'll read the book, and maybe it'll say, and Tito Puente did so-and-so. And then they'll all go, T-ticka, T-T-T-T-T-T, T-ticka, T-T-T-T-T, and they'll do it 4 times, and then they'll rotate to the back of the line, so that they're also getting to practice their new rhythm, and they're getting to have fun doing drums with it as well. And then everybody gets to cycle through at least like 2 or 3 times because we're adding it every single page. And so that's a really great way to like enhance using that rhythm. And then finally, we will practice using some T-ticka rhythms with it. And so I have a bunch of different flashcards for them right here. I will just have them practicing their T-ticka rhythms. So we will literally all have drums at that point, which I'll just use hand drums and other things because I don't necessarily have giant conga drums for all of them. And we'll practice using our T-ticka rhythms because once I introduce something, I need to make sure that I am consistently like practicing it throughout. And then I normally end the lesson with also listening to another song by him, just any of his popular songs, you can look them up, and then that way they're getting to experience Tito Puente. And then I also have a picture of him on my board with these Hispanic musician posters that my husband made for me last year, so I will link for that under there if you too are wanting musician posters in your classroom so you can refer to them often. But that is all I do with this lesson, so it's pretty straightforward. I love using it for like drum circle moments, for introducing T-ticka, for getting to teach them about another famous musician. They absolutely love it. They love the videos. They love having fun with the book, and so I highly recommend using it with your older kiddos because T-ticka is a hard concept, so don't use it with your littles. Like, they're probably not going to get it. But I hope that this lesson was helpful for you. I have tons of other book lesson ideas and other things coming around the pike, so if you are interested in this type of stuff, please subscribe. And like I said, I will link all of my past Hispanic Heritage videos down below. I have ones on other books like La Tortuga. I have ones on specific songs, Pala Palita. I have my 6 favorite Hispanic music lessons video from last year. I have a bunch of stuff, so please look at it all under here. And I will also leave a link to the Tito Puente lesson pack if you want that pre-made for you, and also the Hispanic Heritage musician posters if you want those as well. And that's all I gotta say. So I'm gonna let you go, and I'll see you in another video.